Hey, what's up? This is Dr. Ben Glass. This is the Pre-Chiro podcast. And today we have a special guest coming to us live from Sydney, Australia, Dr. Cody, who I connected with on social media. And I just want to thank you for taking some time to share some perspective and insight with any prospective student out there who's considering this path of becoming a chiropractor. Can you get started by just sharing your background before becoming a chiropractor or going to chiropractic school and what attracted you to this profession?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And for everyone out there listening, hopefully I give you a little bit of insight into my journey, and maybe it'll help to forge the path for you as well. I grew up in rural Minnesota on a farm in the middle of nowhere. I came from a town of literally 349 people called Jeffers, Minnesota. I'd been to a chiropractor before when I was a teenager, a couple car accidents, basketball injury, sports, like you name it, it takes our toll, right? So I'd been to a chiropractor, and I was quite fortunate that I was good at school. I quite enjoyed it. I quite enjoyed the structure of it, of education in general. I had some amazing teachers, but I've always kind of geared towards or gravitated towards health, medical, all of that kind of thing. So when I was thinking about where to go for my undergrad, I was already kind of veering towards kind of the sciences and math and that. So I got accepted into the University of Minnesota in Duluth, and I started as actually pre-pharmacy, out of all things, and biochemistry was my major.
Mm-hmm.
And about 3 years in, I was about to sit the PCAT exam, which is the entrance exam for pharmacy school, and I actually took it. But at the time, I was working at a pharmacy. I was working at Folks Pharmacy up in at the nursing service pharmacy up in Duluth, Minnesota. So shout out to everyone there. And but I just realized it wasn't a good fit for me. It wasn't my passion, and I was already kind of leaning towards more of the natural aspect of it anyway. But working in a nursing home pharmacy, nursing service pharmacy, I never really saw any of the patients get better. I just saw them taking more medications and taking more medications and being dictated by what their insurance or Medicare would cover. And I wanted to be more of a hands-on person in their healthcare. Sorry, we've got some clouds in Sydney, so that's why it's getting a little bit dark at the moment. There we go.
Say face the window if you can, but it's all good if you can't.
There we go. So I just decided right then and there that that's not the path that I wanted to go down. And so ultimately, I don't even remember if someone said potentially chiropractic or if it just kind of led me there. But ultimately, I applied for early admission into Northwestern Health Sciences University just outside of Minneapolis, and I got in. And it was an opportunity that I took. And I started there, and then 4 years later, I finished with my Doctor of Chiropractic and finished out my Bachelor of Science in Human Biology. And then as soon as I graduated, I moved straight out to Australia, where I had a job offer waiting for me. And every step of the path, the journey that I've taken, these opportunities have presented themselves, and I've recognized it and just gone, go for it. Why not? What's the worst that can happen?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's, and then now I've been in Australia. I've been in Sydney, Australia for now 11 and a half years.
Yeah, and how's it going? What's practice like for you? Where's your focus at? What's your passion these days?
Yeah, so I mean, ultimately, like my practice is very successful. I'm busy. I think every chiropractor out there would love to have a full schedule, a full book, and I'm very fortunate to have that. It took a lot of hard work to start off with to build that, and it took some time and patience and a lot of fails. I failed at doing a lot of different things to try to get patients in the door, but ultimately I figured out what stuck. And my ultimate passion, what I've always lived true to, is that my job is to help people. full stop. So I remember this was probably 6, 7 years ago. I don't know if I read it somewhere, but they said you need to come up with. Oh, sorry. There we go. They told me you need to come up with a mission statement, and my mission statements. So literally, I was like, well, I don't know what my mission statement is, but let's get some inspiration. And I literally Googled mission statement for chiropractors. As you do. And it was a lot of ego in it. It was a lot of really long paragraph after paragraph after paragraph about just bullshit. And that's not me. That's not at the heart of what I do. And ultimately, I came back and I boiled it down to one sentence, and it was just to help people. And if I can help them out in a chiropractic way, amazing. But if I can help them out in another way, or help them go in the right direction and follow their passions, that's what ultimately I want to do. And now 11 and a half years since I've graduated, I've shifted now from primarily only wanting to help patients and make them, feel better and function better and get out of pain and do all that, to now I even want to help new grads coming through. And I've just hired 2 new grads to join me at my practice. And I want to help other people find their passion. And I've been very fortunate in that, like, you found me on social media. I love sharing what I do with the world. And now I've been given an amazing opportunity, and I'm exceptionally humbled to be able to share that with millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of people out there in the world. And I've had so many amazing messages from people saying that I've inspired them to potentially become a chiropractor. And I've inspired people, even patients, to go see a chiropractor. And that's an amazing feeling. It's great that that's how now I get to help people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what is it that you're doing with social media that's allowed you to reach millions of people? Can you walk us through the sort of trajectory that you've gone on to? I believe you have over 250,000 followers right now on Instagram. You popped up when I searched for chiropractors. You pop up as one of the top people. What was it that what were the tipping points or series of tipping points, and how much money are you investing in advertising, or how does it all work for maybe an incoming chiropractic student?
Yeah.
You can give them some basic action steps, but also walk us through yours, because you're obviously atypical.
Yeah. And listen, there's a lot of chiropractors out there now doing similar videos and content to what I do. I'm not the first person to do it, and I'm certainly not going to be the last person. It was about 2 years ago, it was about around 2 years ago, I started to post video content. And it was just a short little video clip of me adjusting a patient. Here in Australia, we have some laws regarding how we can advertise. We can't ever advertise a testimonial that a patient has said. So we're fairly restricted. We're very, very restricted with what healthcare practitioners can do here in Australia. And so is well within the confines of
right.
what.
Rewind 20 seconds because you cut out there. As soon as you said we're restricted at what we can do, can you pick
Okay. So healthcare practitioners in Australia are restricted as to how we can advertise. So we can't post testimonials. We can't do any of that stuff. So I came up with the idea to say, well, this is what I do as a chiropractor. This is what we do. And I love adjusting people. Like that's like I dream about it. I dream about adjusting people. And I know that my skills are very good in that department. So I knew that if I was going to post something on social media, it had to be consistent, it had to be professional, but yet I had to reach a big audience. And that aha moment, or that amazing moment that I get to share, is an adjustment, which is quite an amazing thing. I kept thinking, well, who's going to want to see a chiropractic adjustment? Everyone's been to a chiropractor before, right? Because that's kind of the norm in my world. But there are billions of people in the world that have never seen a chiropractor, that probably have never even heard of what a chiropractor is or what they do. So I just started sharing that. And it was a short, it's short. It's not complicated. So I started doing that. And then slowly my Instagram following started off at around 1,000, 1,500, whatever it was. And it slowly just started, because I was posting a video a day. And it just slowly started building, little by little, little by little. And then eventually I hit like 5,000 and I was high kicking. And then you could literally watch the numbers go up. And then all of a sudden it was, 10,000. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. I never thought I'd reach this many people. And then it just kind of kept snowballing. And then, other companies and other media agencies in the US started picking up on it and sharing my content. Other people started sharing the content. So that also helped the momentum. And then about a year ago, I had a couple of patients come in and they recommended that I go on TikTok. And they said, you can use the same kind of stuff that you're doing, only it's even a shorter little window. It's only like 15 to 30 seconds, however much you want to show. You don't have to do all the dancing videos into the music. You just do what you do. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I did. And pretty much overnight, I had millions and millions and millions of views. To now on TikTok, I have over 2.6 million followers. My videos last year in 2020 have been viewed almost 300 million times. And that momentum of doing that fed then into Instagram as well. And then Instagram is now, like you said, over 250,000 followers. So yeah, it's a bit of luck, a little bit of good timing and opportunistic timing, and some of it's also just, I was very consistent and I've been doing it a while and I was already honing that and making it look a certain way and feel a certain way. And I was just able to capture that. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, if it wasn't me, it probably would have been someone else.
Mm-hmm. So what's your advice to a young chiropractic student or somebody who's about to enter into chiropractic school in regards to the relationship with social media as a budding chiropractor, somebody's about to become a chiropractor? How would you recommend they interface with the social media platforms today? Do you think that they should do posts of them going through school and start to get maybe organized and have a specific look, and they stay consistent with one little short video a day of what they're learning in school? Or how do you think that they should approach it?
I think ultimately it can be different for everyone. Not everyone has to do exactly what I'm doing because they're different. They're not Dr. Cody. They're Dr. whoever, or a Chiro student, or a DC to B. So there's so many things that we can share and educate and as long as it's still true to who you are. So I think what also works well in my videos is that you can tell it's really genuine. Like I'm not forcing anything. I'm not faking anything. The patients certainly aren't faking. And we're able to capture that. It's real. And I think because we can capture and show that, it automatically brings the audience with us, to us. And that's what they feel works well. I mean, I don't know. I've been trained to be a chiropractor. I'm not trained in marketing and advertising and social media. It just so happens that this has kind of landed on my lap and I utilized it. And it's worked really well for me.
Do you get into the education of chiropractic on your channel? I'm sorry, I haven't really spent a lot of time watching your videos, but if not, I'm just curious, how do you relate to people about chiropractic in your practice?
Yeah, so in my videos, I don't get into detail. I also don't ever make any claims. It's up to the patient or potential patient to watch my videos and decide if I would be a good fit for them, if they think that I can help them. Then once they get into my clinic, then it's my job that you don't see in the video the entire exam that I do, the consult, the history, what other forms of treatment I am using. Um, it, it, Frankly, that's not what I want to be showing on my channel. But if someone else wants to, by all means, go right ahead. It's just not what I've chosen to show, because I also think that that's a personal thing between me and the patient. And I utilize that information to help them as much as I possibly can. But I mean, my initial examinations, that first visit usually takes me about 45 minutes. So you may only see about, a minute of it at the most. But those other 44 minutes are quite thorough.
Amazing. And have you gotten any feedback from the profession, any of the associations, any of the quote unquote key opinion leaders or influencers, either in Australia or in the States? Have you gotten any feedback as to how your channel is helping or hurting the profession, or neither? It's just, out there.
Just like in every profession, there's going to be, there are a few people on polar sides and then a lot of people in the middle. And I've recently had a fellow colleague in Manchester in the United Kingdom reach out to me and said, without a doubt, they have at least one patient every single week that comes into their practice and says, "Oh my gosh, have you seen this Dr. Cody? He's the reason why I'm here." And that is phenomenal.
Wow.
To have that type of pull, to be able to help people in that way. And I mean, I just want all chiropractors to be successful. Like, I don't care. Everyone doesn't have to come and see me. They can go and see every other chiropractor. On the polar opposite side of things, sure, I've had a few people send messages through on Instagram or wherever saying, what are you doing? You're pulling the profession down. You're whatever.
Okay.
But they never make a comment on bad technique. Everyone's entitled to their own opinions. I realize that there's a lot of people that have a lot of other issues going on in their lives, and they're looking at it through their filters. I don't take it to heart. I don't think it's a personal attack on me. I don't think that some of the things that they say they actually mean wholeheartedly if they were just to sit down with me and talk and have a one-on-one conversation like this. But you take the good and you take the bad with it. And
that's great emotional intelligence. And that's actually gained through experience of working with tons of people who maybe enter your practice with judgments that they have preconceived about chiropractic, and you just have to meet them where they're at. So I appreciate the insights. Is there anything that you would speak to that high school or college student about this path? If you could just deliver a message to them, maybe they're considering all pharmacy or physical therapy or medical pathways. How would you help maybe differentiate chiropractic in their mind, or just speak to what it's given you in regards to your lifestyle and ability to help people?
I mean, it's interesting. Like, I know that I was truly put onto this planet to be a chiropractor, to help people, and I don't know where I'm going to be at in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. I can guess, but I have no idea at this stage. And like I had touched on before, an opportunity had presented itself. And sometimes you don't always know why. And sometimes you overthink it and overcomplicate it. But ultimately, I just followed my heart, and it just felt right. And most of the time, you got to listen to your gut feeling. And I've always listened to that fairly well. And, sometimes you fail, but I guarantee you've got someone or some people that will pick you up and help you along that way. If you're thinking about chiropractic as a profession, what I give a lot of advice to people, like the young, like even students before they're even in university even, is I tell them, if you think you might be interested in it, just go down to your local chiropractor, knock on their door, or call them up and say, "Hey, can I just come in and watch?" That's one of the best things to do. And that's what I did. Even as a chiropractic student, I just tried to observe as much as I possibly could. And I got some very valuable key information, and I learned some valuable lessons from that. And you know, it you may decide that chiropractic isn't for you, that you want to go down a different path, and that's perfectly okay. Like, I have a couple of colleagues that I graduated chiropractic school with, that one of them's a real estate agent in Minneapolis. Good on him. Like, that's great. But he's passionate about it. You can tell he is. So, but I mean, I love being a chiropractor, and there's not a day that goes by where I wake up in the morning and I dread going to work. I love it. I can't wait to get to work. Like, let alone my clinic is in the same building as where I live, so I have a very short commute, and and my partner's an interior designer, so my clinic is beautiful, and I bring my dog with me to work as well. So I mean, I've got the best of all the worlds.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing an inspired message. I think that any student that listens to this and wants to see exactly what you're talking about in regards to your clinic, in regards to the experience that you have working with people every day, they're not going to have a difficult time following you. It's at Dr. Cody. Is it just your full name, or is it just at Dr. Cody?
At Dr. Cody _DC. So Doctor of Chiropractic. There you go.
And you connected with 300 million people last year. I mean, wow.
300 million views on
Can't even
TikTok.
Wrap our head around that. That number's too big. You can't really process that.
Although probably, there's a handful of people that probably accounted for 1 million of those. Sure. A lot of people like to watch it on repeat.
No doubt. All right. Interesting. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Have a beautiful day, and keep doing what you're doing. It's very inspiring to hear that you've reached 300 million people in 1 year with just demonstrations of you adjusting people and them having positive experiences time and time again.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I do appreciate it.
Absolutely. Take care.
Cheers.
Peace. Cheers.